man. Well, I want to give you your introduction. Shout out to Donnie. Shout out to Andres, of course. Pope Baby's in the building. Savannah, Georgia. Atlanta. You're in Atlanta now, I heard. Pope Baby's in
Yep.
the building. You already know. Sports and Hip Hop with DJ Mad Max, Live 365, iHeartRadio, Mad Max Radio. Welcome to the show, man. It's an honor to have you here. How's everything going? How's your night? You ready for the holiday here? Thanksgiving?
Man, every holiday season gets triggered for me because most of my family's birthdays is in the fall season. My birthday is in September. I got a little brother whose birthday is the 30th. Mine's the 17th. I got another one. His birthday is the day before Halloween. And then my mom's birthday is Thanksgiving.
Wow. So you're celebrating two big things. I think your mom's big birthday is of course bigger than Thanksgiving. So you're celebrating two special things on one day.
Back to back, back to back. Every holiday season I go completely broke.
Well, we got Yard Work Volume 2, all the Turtle Tales episodes 1 through 5 on YouTube, Yard Work Volume 2, Kickoff.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Crazy because I'm a real hip hop head and I love all the lyrics. I know you're inspired by Biggie. You love artists who resonate where they're from. And they call me and Kickoff were the two tracks that spoke to me on this album.
That's love, man. I appreciate it, man. A lot of people starting to, gravitate toward Kickoff right now too. It's weird. It's
Yeah.
weird. The project has been like Y'all Work 2 has been like slowly but gradually gaining more and more people to the project to listen to it. And that's one of their favorite tracks right now, Kickoff, for sure.
I'm not surprised. It's fire. And it's something that's so interesting when you mention on the project. This is true Southern hip hop right there. Talk to me about what your definition of true Southern hip hop is. What's your definition?
I think Southern hip hop, in my opinion, is one. How can I describe it? True Southern hip hop to me is independent art.
Mm.
Truly, just independent art. Like from the beginning, like all the way back from like Outkast days, Goody Mob days, UGK days, and all of that. Like a lot of the times we didn't have, still to this day, like we didn't have a lot of the big labels down here in the South. So a lot of people had to, produce their own content, their own music, like out of their own like garage and out of their trunk or out their mama house, like. And that's the feeling I put into Yard Work and Yard Work too. Like this is like coming straight from my heart and straight from my own like our own dime and really like grinding this shit out for real, like true Southern hip hop.
You're doing it, and you're right. You do represent. You're kind of following in the footsteps there of Outkast, Goody Mob, the people that you mentioned, the legends that you mentioned. And what's interesting was hearing you're on your way out to New York is when you finished Volume 2 here. Are we going to get the third one soon? Is Yard Work, is that done?
You're going to get 2.5 and 2.5.
2.5.
2.5 is done. It'll be out January.
Wow.
January. I'm gonna put out two singles beforehand. The first single I'm gonna put out, I think, it's called Standing on Business. And that one is in that vein of true Southern hip hop, man, for sure.
Oof. You've had the chance to meet Big Boi, I heard in previous interviews. So how was your meeting with him? Because I know Savannah, you have that connection there, and you just love how he relates to a lot of the OGs there, and the fact that he was able to make a name for himself and be rich and not let anything change him really too much. So talk to me how your meeting was with Big Boi.
With Big Boi, man, I wasn't nervous or anything like that. Like I'm never nervous when I meet like some of the big names in hip hop, but with Big Boi, like it really just felt good to see someone from my city that was like not jaded by the industry or have like a bunch of like horror stories to tell about the game. Like, bro was like, he was cool as a fan. Like, it literally felt like I was talking to somebody that was on my block back home. So like, yeah, and we've seen Big Boi my whole life. You feel me? Like, I think they first album came out like '93 or something like that. Like, he started before I was even born. So I've always been able to kind of see Big Boi and Dre like at the height of their career. So being able to do that was, beautiful and mind blowing. Cause we really the same height.
Wow.
The same height, like for real. So seeing him do all the big stages and do all the big, accolades that he done did alongside Dre, like, yeah, it's fire. And when he was telling me how he owns Stankonia now and has been for some time now. Like that shit just made me like really like think about like business avenues to get into and all of that. I never thought about like owning a studio and shit like that. So knowing that he's been doing that, like that's fire.
Was it before you met Big Boi that you kind of decided you wanted to bring the business and just areas where Savannah, Georgia could really become a success? Because I heard about you wanting to bring certain businesses, share, and you're already doing it already, charities, movie theaters, venues. So is it kind of that conversation that you had with Big Boi that sparked that?
No, that was before that, way before
Before
that. When me and my business partner, yeah, before when me and my business partner Donnie came together around 2019, that was the big objective that we had, was to create a pipeline from industries in the bigger cities into our hometown. So that was always part of the plan. But there's always new things to hear about and add to what you got going on into like your mental space. And what Big Boy was talking about was definitely one of those things for sure.
Pote Baby Day, that came to fruition. 912 always represent. You try to keep it around that date. The third one, I just heard about that, and this is 3 years in a row now. So, what's something that you're going to be looking forward to for the fourth day? One coming. What's going to be the fourth year here?
Oh, because we started in the pandemic. So 20, 21, 22, 23. We on number 5. We about
You're on number
to.
five. Okay, so what's gonna be on the fifth one then that you're building up off of four
It's going to be really big, much bigger than number 4. Number 3 is when we got proclaimed and we basically got our own local holiday
and the mayor
in
came out. I heard too.
whole nine. Like they did the whole bells and whistles for me and the team, and yeah, it was beautiful. But for the fifth one, I can't give out no secrets right now until I really really confirm everything. But it's gonna be the biggest one we've done so far for sure.
Big time. I heard you gave out 12,000 to local businesses there. That's big.
Yep, we did business grants, gave out 12,500 to be exact. To yeah, a bunch of local business owners up in the city, and as well as a high school student who's like figuring out his own like careers and shit to do later on in his life. Like, but yeah, like we really give back. Like a lot of people say they give back and they just give out goddamn turkeys. And the whole time it's like these people, they know how to eat. They don't have nowhere to sleep. You're not fixing a certain problem. We fixing the issue of having local institutes that happen to be really big that don't invest their time and energy into their local community. You feel me? Us giving out that 12 grand to, local residents, local business owners, like that's a solution to one of the many problems we got back home for sure.
I think what you're doing is just monumental. And it's shaking the pavement here, especially when you have these talks about gun violence, because that's something that interested me when you're at these events that you bring up the gun violence. Do you see
Mm-hmm.
any changes happening at least in Savannah that you guys are putting forward now that you kind of want to have these conversations down there at your event?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the gun violence is still pretty bad back home. Like I've gone to multiple funerals. Like it's always the same type shit. But because we're providing opportunities to the youth and people that are even older back home, like that is a thing that can directly affect the height of the gun violence. Because most of the people that do gun violence back home is because they don't know that they can do other things. All they
Mm.
know all they know is the quickest way for them to get money is to rob niggas. Like that's the only shit they know. Sell drugs, rob niggas, and get rich or die trying. You feel me? Providing opportunities for people who look like me as well as others who come from a underprivileged area, like that lessens that violence by an extreme amount. So for sure, like that's definitely what we've been doing, giving out internships and all of that, like real job opportunities that can like change generations, which will then change the large scale of the city. That way, the things that came around while I was growing up happen way less while these new kids are coming up.
That's going to make a huge. I'm telling you, man, you're making a change out there, and especially when we learn just about your story coming up and just hearing about your mom kind of being the inspiration because she worked in hospitality for
Mm-hmm.
a long time, and you wanted to follow her path because you saw how easy her life was. She took the positive route, so you wanted to take that route with music. How does she feel about Yard Work here, Volume 2? Because I know she's at every show and she can back up everything you say in your music.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've never told a lie in a song ever a day in my life.
No.
But with Yard Work 1 and 2, I actually don't know how she feels about Yard Work 2. Because with Yard Work 1 and 2, it was a very intentional shift from the previous stuff I was making. Because everything before the Yard Works was
Buffet
buffet.
tapes.
Yeah, buffet tapes. I put a million genres on one tape. With Y'all Work 1 and 2, this was straight up just Southern. And because I'm not a person that likes to bite my tongue, this is the most like damn near the most gritty I've been on records in a long time. So I don't know exactly how my mama feels about Y'all Work 1 and 2, but I know she can back up every story I'm telling. I just think she would like me to cuss a lot less. That's it.
Mhm. You're having these artists down there at the showcases, and they're all local acts. Have you thought about bringing them onto your label? Have you thought about trying to help these artists make it out as well? Is that something that you're trying to do?
Yeah, eventually, like over time, like we would love to be the big brother of the city that could just sign people. You feel me? Be the Cash Money of New Orleans. Like we could just grab people from this side of town, grab people from this side of town, grab people from this side of town, lift them up, let them blow up and become something bigger. It just take time to do those things because we independent. We not walking around with $1 million capital every single day. Like
No.
and we want to truly invest in the artists that we interested in. So it'll come in time for sure, definitely.
I know we talked about your big influence there with Big Boi, but another one in the city, Camouflage, rest in peace to him. He was a guy that was next up, and we heard about the envy that went on there, and unfortunately led to his unfortunate death there. Eh,
Yep.
how have you noticed things in the city, because you do give a lot of your time and energy and giving back and wanting to help the people there? Do you still feel like negative energy? Because when we look at situations like Nipsey, he was giving back to his community. Do you still feel that?
There is envy, like an underlying envy that happens in the city, but it's not as heavy because it's not like how it was when Camouflage was coming up, where it was maybe either one or two artists that were coming out of Savannah, and right before Camouflage was Big Boy and Outkast. So yeah, the amount of people that was in the market was so low that whoever got the spot was getting hated on immediately. Now, nowadays, we fast forward where there's a Pote Baby, a Quando Rondo, a Doo Kane, a Heartbreak, Flip Phone 5, like multiple artists that's coming out of Savannah, Georgia. Like that the weight of that envy is much lesser. Much lesser. It's still not the safest thing to just be walking around in the middle of the street and you got a reputation and like things that are worth losing and all of that shit. Like it still ain't safe to just be doing all that. But you feel me? Like the weight of it is much lower for sure.
How amazing is it to see that his daughter is living on in his legacy at LSU?
I keep I keep forgetting about Flage. That's just
Yeah.
crazy. But nah, Flage is I can't even explain it because she's basically a most like a I guess you would call it like somewhat of a superstar because not only can she do music, she also plays basketball very well, really well, and she knows how to be a personality outside of all of those things. Like, so she knows how to be or damn near basically go viral on TikTok for doing something that has neither to do with basketball or music. She just has a personality on top of that. So like, yeah, no, it's amazing seeing what Flage has been doing. Like, and I think she just got. I'm not sure, but I think she's got her own street in Savannah. And I think she just like they gave her her own intersection in the city. That's beautiful. Yeah, she's going crazy for sure.
Have you had a chance to meet her?
No, I haven't had a chance to meet Flage.
No. We need a track from you two.
I'm with it if she with it at all
Yeah.
times. That I think the city will love that for sure.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That she's been on the show, so if she's listening or one of her team is listening out there, fans, get it back to her. Pope Baby. We need that Flaugier collaboration right there.
Flage, get
Yeah.
at me. Flage, get at me. I'm on the
But
east. Every time to come pull up. Yeah.
we need it. Be kind and rewind. You know where I'm going with this. This was your dream. I heard GM a Blockbuster.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Before rap, like I always had like a love for film, a love for cinema, much deeper than music, much deeper than writing songs, damn near deeper than fashion. Like I have always loved movies and television. I'm a 2000 baby. I could go from watching Rob and Big all the way to 2023 and watching goddamn the new Transformers that just came out. Like I've watched everything that has ever came out in the US for sure. Everything.
Oh man. And you like anime, and you like
And in my mind,
animated movies, I heard. You like romantic
in my
comedies.
mind,
You can hear me? Okay,
yes.
yeah, you like and I heard you
Yeah,
like
can you hear
animated.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It kind of like froze up there for a minute. You like
Gotcha.
animated movies, romantic comedies,
Yes.
big movie. Why don't you get into acting? Because we're seeing your personality with Turtle Tails and just everything in your music videos and your personality already as a hip hop artist. Why don't you want to get into? Have you thought about getting into acting?
I've contemplated it because for folks who don't know, like coming up in high school, I used to take drama class and I was one of the best. You feel me? So I don't know. I've contemplated it. I think what we've been using music as a way to open the door for other avenues.
Mm.
You feel me? Whether that be fashion, which we got with Gumbo. I got this baby I've been nurturing called Binge Buddies that I really want.
Oh, the commentary movie podcast that you want to have.
That's gonna be so amazing. Once we get all the T's crossed and the I's dotted and all of the technical shit put together, that's gonna be crazy. I've been talking about it for years. That's gonna be crazy, as well as we've been working on technology, all type shit. You feel me? And I think acting would definitely be one of those things we would add to the artillery for sure.
It'll happen. And you go to the movies, I heard, every weekend. So, I mean, how was it during the strike? Because the strike is over. They finally reached an agreement, but as a movie head.
All right. So during the strike, my biggest concern during the strike, it wasn't as a consumer of movies. It was honestly from the artist side, because for a lot of people who don't know, like syncs is one of the biggest checks you get as an artist. You feel me? So if there's no new content rolling out, no new content opportunities rolling out as far as movies, TV shows, games, whatever, like if those opportunities are on pause, like a lot of people not gonna be able to pay their bills, because a lot of people are not top streaming artists, but the way they pay their bills is from syncs. So if as long as that shit, as long as the strike was on, like niggas was not getting paid that whole strike
No.
because it was nothing coming. So yeah, like that was my biggest concern, especially like being like independent and like a entry level artist. Like we need all them opportunities. So yeah, that was my biggest concern. But now that it's, everything's clear now.
Yeah.
Now that everything's clear, we can kind of like, structure our business to, look more toward those opportunities for sure. We're trying to get, I really want to get on Grand Theft Auto 6. I want that.
The soundtrack.
Gotta get that soundtrack. I want that bad. I gotta get on there.
Let's manifest that. That's coming soon. I know Rockstar Games, everyone's been going crazy for it. So let's make it happen.
Gotta make it happen. Come on, Rockstar. You see this? You see this? Get Pote Baby on the GTA 6 soundtrack, please. Please.
Got to do it. And let's get that collabo with Fergie too. I heard Fergie's, you're always do it for Fergie. You think she's your top one there. The Duchess album, you said that's the White Girls Get Rich or Die Trying. It was played in the car that your mom just bought. You popped that into the stereo there. What is it about Fergie, man? Because I know you love the Black Eyed Peas. What is it about her style you think that makes her so different from everyone, that you put her so high? Because I never heard. What's crazy is because I feel as though she's underrated.
Okay, I agree with that. I also agree that
Because I
she's
feel as
under.
though no one ever brings her up, but she is an important piece. And when you look at it in hip hop culture, because of the Black Eyed Peas, yeah.
So with Fergie, like one, like the texture of her voice, because of the texture of her voice, like she's always been able to, if she wanted to, she could rap, but
Mm.
she also could sing. And I hope this don't sound crazy. A lot of white women aren't good with having twang. She knows how to have twang. Now that might be due to her having, Black and Hispanic producers and all of that. But she knows how to pull it off pretty goddamn well. The Star Spangled Banners, we can let that go. But everything else, she bodied every single time. She's on a lot of people don't even know like she's on the back end of all of the lights. A lot of people think that's MIA. That is Fergie. Like she's one of the ones like one of the coolest textures. Like I really don't be I ain't never really heard no bad stories about her during her debut album days. So like yeah, like I always love Duchess. The Duchess, Fergie, yeah.
Yeah. One of the goats for sure. And you brought up national anthem performances. How about it was crazy? Flavor Flavs. Did you see that going viral on
I heard about it, but I didn't want to see Flav. I didn't want to see Flav in the Star Spangled Banner, bro. I didn't want to see that. I heard about it. Somebody told me about it because I love Flav.
Yeah,
People who
goat
don't
Public Enemy, yeah.
public, even beyond Public Enemy, I love Flavor Flav for his show Flavor of Love.
Flavor of Love VH1.
That's why I love Flavor Flav, and to hear that the man who is probably one of the most popular hype men ever singing the Star Spangled Banner, I'm cool. I don't want to see that. I'm all right. I don't want to see my boy in that condition. I'm all right. Nope.
Let's get to talking about the artists that you admire because you like Biggie, Missy Elliott, Kanye, Hove. You like artists that and Ludacris. You like artists that resonate and claim and put on where they're from. Do you feel as though a lot of artists lack that today? Is that why you kind of what makes you so big on wanting to stick with and just relating to artists that put on where they're from?
Excuse me. Although there is a lack, that was never like the reason why I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it because I honestly that's just what I love. I love seeing people like represent where they from. You feel me? Especially me being from a small town. Like a lot of us don't travel beyond our blocks. So we have to experience the world through other people's, stories. And the best way to do that is through their music for the most part. Because unlike a lot of my crew, I'm the only one that does go to the movies all the time. You feel me? But we all listen to music all the time, unanimously. Like as a mass, we all listen to music. So being able to, hear everyone's story from other parts of the world, like I just always thought that shit was cool. Now there is a lack of people representing where they're from nowadays. There is a lack, but I don't blame it. I don't blame them for it because a lot of people like they started on the internet. You feel me? A lot of these kids that blow up on the internet, they be military kids, all type shit. So they don't really have like a set foundation for where they from. They are a big melting pot of things. And then they give out their version of whatever story they want to tell. So I don't fault nobody for not being from nowhere. But for me, it's hard for me to relate to people that aren't from an actual place. So
Interesting. I do have to ask you about because I get the Nelly, the Ludacris, and all your influences 100%. I do got to ask you about this. You like Justin Timberlake? Is he really one of your top? Really? I think he's. You don't think he's a culture vulture a little bit? I mean, with the Janet Jackson thing, he's cringy. You like that guy?
look, most folks that look like JT happen to be culture vultures. That's just what come with the law with the law of the land. It be like that. Now, do I think JT himself is a culture vulture? I don't know. I know he's a man from Memphis, Tennessee, who knows how to make, like I said, one of the white artists that can make songs with twang. A lot of artists can't pull that off without being a country artist. So for JT, like his whole Timberland run, Neptune's run, whatever, like he getting a lot of play in our whip for sure. Now the Janet thing.
Oh,
Now the Janet thing, yeah, no, I can't really defend that man for none of that. But he's apologized and all of that stuff. And Janet seems to have forgiven the man. I just want the streets to forgive Janet. That's all I care about.
yeah. Oh, well, I think his comeback is now ruined because of Britney. Thank you, Britney, and that ends that, and we move on and we focus on Pote Baby. How about that?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
But I mean, you have so much on the way here, and just so much that you're having in the works, and when learning about it, because it kind of struck me in hearing in one of your previous interviews that because you've sold a lot of merch. There's been a kid that's you asked you for your sneakers, and it was the Nike Air Forces with the bandana and the green bandana and the logo, and he eventually wanted you to sign these sneakers. It's kind of just so mind blowing to me when you think about an artist and their work is only $1 a song. do you ever see prices kind of, I mean, everything else is rising constantly, gas prices, everything else in this country. Do you ever see artists wanting to raise the money of their music, or just finding out ways where they can actually generate more income off of their music besides touring? Or
Yeah, I'll say that.
I feel as though this is art. You put a lot of time and effort in to just get paid $1 a song.
Right. I mean, you get paid $1 a song when people buy the song. If we're talking streaming, one stream is a seventh of a penny per stream. So if someone buy a song, you a lucky man.
Yeah. Well, I still buy my music. I don't like streams.
Okay,
So
okay.
I
So
bought your album, so
oh yeah, that's love. We appreciate it over here. We
yeah.
appreciate it. But yeah, nah, like I think, yeah, artists are starting to get smarter. Artists are starting to get smarter. They're starting to get, because everyone has the internet now. So everyone is starting to, Google and search ways to, make money in different avenues. Some artists turn into YouTubers slash artists. Some of them turn into create their own media platforms, and then they interview a bunch of other artists like Yachty with his a Safe Place podcast that he got going on right now. Like, and then you got Joe Budden. Like, it's a bunch of people that's just figuring it out. You got as far as fashion, you got obviously Kanye with Yeezy, and then you got Tyler the Creator with Golf Wang, which is flying off the rack. You got Travis Scott with damn near all his sneaker collabs. Like, yeah, people, we getting into that era where people are figuring out, like, hey, since everyone is basically just streaming our shit, we need to figure out the things that get us whole dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just happens to be every other avenue until you become one of the big artists, because it's all market share. That's all the streaming is. It's all market share. And if you're one of the bigger artists with a bigger following, like, they get most of that market share. If everyone that's like under that, like mid-tier artists or entry level artists, like, yeah, it's real tough to like pay your bills off of streaming. So you got to figure out other stuff.
You do, and you're doing it already. And I mean, how did you kind of just buy by the time? Because I heard about it. You working at gas stations and stuff. So how do you kind of, when you're in that starting stages? Because you tell artists all the time that you can make it out of any situation. If you don't have the resources, if you do, you can make it out. So what do you tell the art people that are sitting there and they just kind of feel stuck in life, but they know what they want to do, but they feel
Yeah.
as though that they're trapped in the position that they're currently at? How do you kind of just suppress and just keep going forward? What's the mindset that you got to have?
Well, one, you got to acknowledge that uh this position of quote unquote struggle or hardship is normal in this journey. Everyone, well, mostly everyone has had to go through some kind of hardship to get to whatever place that they at 5 years later. You feel me? For those who didn't watch the Travis Scott Look Mom I Can Fly documentary, he was at South by Southwest performing in front of 14 people while still signed to T.I. and Kanye. So yeah, this is it's hard for everybody. Like, none of this is ever easy. Like, unless you get one of those very, 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 very rare deals and connections that just put you at the front like that. But for
Industry
everyone else,
plants.
yeah, the industry plans type shit. You feel me? Everyone else, you're gonna have to like figure it out. So that's the first thing you gotta acknowledge, that you're not special in this hardship. Everyone has a hardship. You do that, that makes the hardship weigh a little bit less, because now you can sit in the understanding that this is how it's supposed to go. Then you I would say, if you're a small time guy like me, like, my best tool, because I was in an area that didn't have that many resources, the one resource that I know I had was the internet. It's a source that everyone has
Sky
basically.
Zone. You having your music put on Sky Zone, paying blogs to post it on there, and that's how it started.
You figure out some shit, man.
Yeah.
I don't The blueprint changes like over the years, because time changes, the market changes, all of that type shit. So I don't have a direct blueprint, but I definitely know like some things do not change. Right now, there's the most people going to use the internet ever. So if you're not on the internet, you need to be using the internet. Any social media platform, you need to be on it. I know you can't be on it around the clock because you work a 9 to 5 or some shit like that, but definitely having a heavy presence on that, and building relationships with people, bro. Like, let's say you work in your 9 to 5, You stack up a couple checks. Um, See if you can get you a camera, man. Go to a bigger city and try and build with some people, man.
Mm.
Literally, and you can make content from the trip. You can record music out there if you save up enough. You can record out there, meet some DJs who might be connected to other artists. You feel me? And then just start building a network around what you got going on. And definitely like start locally though. Start locally. Build something in your own like background, in your own, you feel me, on your home ground that that people from other cities can want to know, well, what's going on down there? Because these people are starting to, catch some traction, and they're not from a New York, a LA, a Atlanta, a Houston. Like you definitely just gotta build network, man, from high to low, left to right, like for sure.
And that's important. And just when you describe that, because then when you go on, when I read more about you, is that so you have that support outside too from every state to fall back on too. So you're not just relying on just being a local guy. You also have support in all the other states.
Yep, 1000%, man. Got to get that foundation from everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere. You could go platinum in the South, but you also could go platinum spread out too. So
It's a great mindset, and you're achieving it every day. Earth Gang tour was just a step right there. Turtle Tails, that you see all the behind the scenes of being on the tour. Emos was there. I heard about you loving the story, how you even shed a couple tears over it when people had their phones up. There were so many phones that you couldn't even see like the distance really of it, just with their arms. You couldn't even see. So you were like, man.
it was crazy. Like shout out to Earth Gang, shout out to since the '80s, shout out to Zeke, Barry, whole gang. Shout out everybody. Shout out everybody on my team. Shout out Donnie, Keish, B Nut, Peso, Fob, Da Vinci, the whole gang. Shout out Carmen, everyone that was on the tour. Yeah, no, it was a beautiful opportunity. Like we got to travel, the South with me and the crew, and we had a ball. For a lot of us that was on the tour, like we went to places we had never been before. I never been to Dallas, Texas. Never been to Dallas, Texas. Never. I think Dallas might have been the only place, but for some people, yeah, it was their first time in certain cities. You feel me? Never been to San Antonio or none of that. Like I never performed at Alabama a day in my life, but that was a tour that happened. You feel me? And it was cool. Like they was one of the most lit shows. But yeah, no, it was a beautiful opportunity. Like sold out of merch. Like every crowd was fire. Mike Dimes, who was also on that tour, was also a great opener. Like, yeah, and we body shit every single show, and it was cell phone lights up every single show. Everyone had a good time. Everybody got home safely. Like there was nothing I would change about that tour at all.
What did you learn from being on that tour as far as from the touring aspects now that you can apply when you're ready to hit the road solo?
Definitely don't buy a bunch of frozen food.
Okay.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Most of the stuff that we had stocked up on the RV, like that ended up none of us ate it because we never had real time to actually sit down and put something in the microwave. Like that, no one ate none of that shit. So we wasted basically $5,000 on goddamn ramen noodles and we just wasting money. So yeah, like just get food at the stops. Like just do that. But mainly, I say one of the biggest lessons I would say is that I can carry on onto a headlining tour would be if let's say we did have openers, like it would be because what they did, what Earth Gang in the since the '80s team did for us is they didn't tell us to go on stage until they knew people were in the crowd.
Mm.
And that's something I really respected for them for doing because they could have just threw us out there when it was four niggas out there. When the whole standing room was full, they said, "Give you the green light. Go ahead, try it out, see what you got." And that was some of the coolest shit ever. So that would definitely be something to carry on for possibly some of the People's Choice Showcase artists that let's say we ever put them on tour, like that'd be something to definitely bring on. And yeah, just shake everyone's hand because everyone matters. That's the biggest thing. Like, and we got to do meet and greets whenever it's time for Pote to do headlining. Got to do meet and greet. Got to. That's probably one of the quickest checks on the tour. is the meet and greets, man. These people will pay 300 to a rat to sit there, shake your hand, hug you, get a pic, and then move on with their life. And they gonna go to the show. They still gonna stay for the show, and they gonna get merch. Like you probably gonna get 1,500 off of one person. You feel me? Like it take people like a month of streaming, a good month of streaming to get $1,500. So like to get that off of one person, the potential of getting that off of one person is beautiful. So that's definitely some things to add for sure.
That's an amazing story that you told, especially at EARTHGANG. They wanted the stadiums and the arenas to fill out before they
Yep.
threw out there. So yeah, that's important to go to show you like, yo, you're gonna get the exposure, and look what happened.
Yeah.
Everyone, you were a hit.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Shout out to them, man. I really respect them for that for sure.
Yeah. When I move, you move. Let's talk about Ludacris. I've heard you bring this up before. That's your guy right there, a hit maker. Do you feel as though that artists today are kind of lacking the songwriting? Because you kind of talked about that in the past, that people were writing hit records not even based off of the streets. Like when we look at like Nelly, Dilemma, and like you said, When I Move, Ludacris, they were writing it in their own vision and just creating these hit records without relating to the streets. Do you think that artists kind of abandon that tactic? Because when I do look at it, we kind of don't really get songs like that as much as frequent anymore, and it's not even on the same structure. Like that's why we look back when we say, man, what happened to those Ja Rule, J-Lo, Ashanti records and those Nelly records? Like what do you think happened? Was it the production? Why do you think we don't kind of get those songs as much?
I'm not even I'm gonna answer a couple questions. So with what did I feel like what happened in between like
Yeah,
the early 2090s into today's
yeah,
time?
the Sonic just changed the production and everything.
I think well, yes, production changed, but I think the storytelling changed because like a lot of the 2000s like they were selling like a fairy tale of how they wish life would be. You feel me? Like we wish a lot of the women wished it was niggas sitting out in the rain with a boombox begging them to come back outside. You feel me? So that was it was so romanticized that it had to go platinum. It had to because every song felt like the most ghetto Disney story ever. You feel me? And during those days, it was a lot of people like a lot of those artists like those are some of the biggest checks they ever got in their life. Like a lot of them people was getting $1 million music videos to just be as big and as romanticized as possible. When we fast forward into today, yeah, people not trying to sell fantasy no more. Like
No.
they they trying to give you at least certain people not trying to sell a certain fantasy. Like some people do fabricate, like they gas it up a little bit. But for the most part, like, yeah, a lot of these people are telling you, like, hey, we on drugs. We on drugs and we not in love. Like that's what we on right now. So I think that's just the main thing. Like a lot of people just got tired of the fairy tale aspect of storytelling. Like that's what I think is one of the biggest things. And as far as like do I feel like artists have like lacked in the making songs like general and like for the public type shit, like just trying to make hits versus like, making other shit. uh I don't think women shied away from it. Women are still making hits that have nothing to do with the streets, as well as now they making songs that got to do with the streets as well too. Like women have never like shied away with that. With dudes, I don't know why. Maybe because the market decided like they fuck with the more gritty shit or like the more artsy shit. Because this is where the land is at right now. Right now, the land is on one side. You got artists that are very artsy, very Mystique, very Kendrick-esque. You feel me? Like more not so not Good Kid, Mad City Kendrick, more Section 80. Like this
Mm.
shit is artsy as hell. Like damn near Pulitzer Prize need to be put in a museum artsy, right? And then you got another side of artists that just make straight up street shit. Like this shit is street.
Griselda.
You feel me? Like street. And then you got this middle ground right here. There's a void in this middle ground, and yeah, people just haven't been, in my opinion, a lot of the male artists haven't been trying to be in this part right here, which can be is the record can be as open as possible. Like I say all the time, Ludacris, when I move, you move. What's your fantasy? Ti 24s. That's a song about goddamn rims. It's a song about rims. So like, yeah, like right here is just a void, and only I've only seen like maybe a handful of artists really aim for that void in today's time, and I plan to be, try and keep this right here, pretty alive and pivotal in how hip hop sounds.
And that's big time. And that void is going to be filled by Pote Baby. He's been wanting to do it. He loves the music. He's all about the early 2000s. I love it. Do you think because do you feel as though the early 2000s gets overshadowed by the 90s because we kind of just be like, oh, the 90s, the 90s, the 90s because we're the golden age. Do you feel as though that we kind of overshadow the early 2000s because early 2000s was an amazing time?
I think people. Let me make sure I say it correctly. I think the only people that say the '90s overshadowed the 2000s, you are either from. So you from the South, you get a whole different answer. You are either someone that's from up north
Mm.
or someone from the West Coast, where basically most of hip hop were these two regions. You feel me? Now, when you hit, I say 98 and 99. 98, 99, damn near everything after that is the South. Damn near. So the only time I hear that is when it's people that's from different parts of the country. But if you from down here, like nah, like our heyday came literally after the whole East Coast West Coast thing. So
Mm.
yeah, no, it don't matter if it's R&B all the way to hip hop. Like we had all that shit. Like everything after that was us. So yeah, I don't believe so, but I could be biased because I'm from the South.
You could be it. And speaking of the South, with Nelly and everything, was it crazy? Did you see it go trending on Twitter, viral? The Nelly Chingy thing, you saw that go viral on Twitter? Oh man.
Yeah, I saw. But what's crazy because I love hip hop. Like I used to watch the Beef DVDs.
Okay, like the Smack DVDs and all that.
I used to watch all of them when Ti was beefing with Lil Flip, when Game was beefing with 50 Cent, and somebody got shot outside the studio. Like when Game was beefing with Yuck Mouth, like I used to watch all of them DVDs, and one of the beefs was the Nelly and Chingy beef, and all that shit was already in there. So shout out to everybody that's just now like hearing all of that like today. But no, we was already on that. We was already for sure.
Yeah, I love one of the comments was just because I'm a Nelly guy. Nelly's probably the reason why I'm here today. To be honest, that was my first intro into rap. Ride with Me, Country Grammar, classic. But one of the comments really got me because someone said in there, "Why did it sound like Nelly was losing in the beat?"
And the beef, it sound like when they put the verses together. when, they put, when they put the verses, it's like nah, Chingy went crazy. Nelly didn't go as hard as Chingy, but Nelly had a bigger career than Chingy. So that's he might have lost one or two battles, but in the war, Nelly got that. Nelly got
Yeah.
the war.
Oh, easily because we would have remembered it. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely got the war.
Unbelievable. But how's the live album coming? This is something that you want to put out. I heard you want to get live instrumentalization in there. So how's your live album going?
Um, because we did the first live album around Pote Day. I think the second Pote Day. No, it's the third Pote Day. Third Pote Day. The third Pote Day we did the first live album. Now, because I'm working on like y'all were at 2.5, y'all were at 3, a debut album as well as the live album. Like the live album, like it's gonna be between my debut album that I plan to put out at some point and the live album, like it's gonna sound like Black Man's Heaven. Like
Mm.
it's gonna be like it's hard to really explain it without like people being there for the sessions. Like it's so beautiful. Like right now, I'm doing the most grittiest shit ever out of my catalog, and it's going to transition into the greener side of the grass. And that's definitely what the live and the debut album will sound like for sure.
We got two Yard Work Volume 2.5 coming. You already got that on the way for next year. What's your blueprint for next year? Well, what's the trajectory, man? Because I feel it's so the sky's really the limit for you. The talent's there, the music's there. It's just,
Thank you.
things just have to fall into place. So what are you grinding for in 2024?
Mainly just having, as we mentioned before, like the other avenues that you can get into as far as music. Like I want to have all of those set in stone at the top of the year. That way my calendar throughout the rest of the year is booked and busy. Because if right now we understand like to some degree how much money is just sitting out there that's up for grab. All we got to do is add something, add the medium for those things into our infrastructure, and we could go grab that. So that's one of the main things we're doing right now. Q4 is ideating and then locking down those things before we get into the new year. And then once the new year gets in, like it's off to the races, man. Let's go execute. That's the whole 2024, like execution, execution, execution.
Execution. You heard it first. Pope Baby, man. Is there anything else you would love to let the audience know, your fans know, anything else that we didn't discuss here tonight?
First off, I wanna thank you for even having me here. I appreciate you, bro. Like
Of
1,000.
course.
I want to give a big shout out to all of the listeners that we've been having. Everyone who's been listening to my music all the way from 2016 to 2023 into 2024. I appreciate all of y'all. Me nor the team could do any of this without y'all. So I definitely appreciate y'all. More gumbo on the way. We're gonna premiere the second season either this fall, well, this winter, or top of next year. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for gumbo, binge buddies, more turtle tales. We got more stories to tell, of course. Turtle tales, and yeah, more music on the way, man. More cool shit for sure.
And he really does love turtles because he's himself and comfortable in his own shell. There you go. And when the head comes out of that shell,
It doesn't
nothing
change who they are.
changes.
Nothing changes. Same motherfucker. That's a
Yeah.
bad boy. That's a bad boy.
Pope Baby, let them know where they can find you on Instagram, Twitter, all your platforms there.
Got you. You can find me on Instagram, POTEBABYS. You can find that's like Instagram or Twitter.
I think you did. That was Instagram because it's just Pope Baby on Twitter.
Yeah, on Twitter it's just Pote Baby, POTEBABY, and Snapchat same POTEBABY. We've been going crazy on Snapchat. Shout out to the Snapchat team too, and TikTok POTEBABY. Any music platform, it don't matter if it's Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music. I think it's Deezer, like Deezer. Any music platform, YouTube, whatever. POTEBABY. You're gonna see a young dark skinned man with some chains on and gold teeth every time.
They call me. You just
They
fill it
call
out there with spelling it out.
Come on, man. They call me Pote Baby representing the 912. Never disrespect it, never neglect it, because I'm always gonna rep it for real.
Yard Work Volume 2 out now, available on all platforms. Go stream it. Most of all, download it. Support this man right here, Pope Baby. Pope Baby Day going crazy. Turtle Tales. Go check him out on YouTube. Shout out to Donnie and Andres in the building for setting this up. Anytime, man. Anytime you want to come back on the show, you're always welcome. Keep doing great things. All right, man. We'll be back
I
soon.
got you. You too, man. I appreciate you.
Of
Real
course.
way, man. Andres, shout out to you, bro. All right, y'all.
All
I'm
right,
gonna catch
guys.
y'all next time. All right.
Enjoy the rest of your night. All right, guys. Peace out.
You too.